joining us today for another episode of What's Your Why Wednesday. Today, I have a fantastic guest. He is Frank Garay. He is the president of Frank Garay, Inc., the co-founder of the National Real Estate Post, the co-owner of Pre-App 1003 and Listing Booster. He's also a mortgage and real estate entrepreneur, a team member of Mortgage Marketing Animals, and the co-host of Loan Officer Breakfast Club. Frank, thank you so much for joining us today. And we're going to jump right in.
Sure.
Okay. Most of us fell into this wonderful industry, but we stayed in the industry because it was tied to our personal and professional why. So Frank, please share with us, what's your why?
I will. I'll share it. Actually, I would say this, and you and I did some chatting before we started recording this, but my why changed 3 succinct times in my career. And let's establish my career. I got into the mortgage space in January of 1987. So I'm coming on 35 years here this January. So I've been at it quite a long time. But with respect to the why, when I first got in, the why, I went from high school into the Navy, and I was in the Navy for 6 years. And as I was getting out of the Navy, I was thinking, man, I got to do something. And my mom was selling real estate. She still sells real estate to this day.
Wow.
She was selling real estate. I said, maybe I can do something in that arena, and she said, hey, come on out, and I'm going to have you walk around with me. I walk around with a mortgage lender and walk around with an appraiser. I did all three, and I just settled in on lending because it just seemed to be, the thing that I thought was the coolest at the time. But the why is, and like you said, the mortgage industry finds you somehow, and it found me that way. But the why at that particular time, what I saw and what really appealed to me became my why in the beginning was just freedom, right? Just I saw that, wow, this is something that I could do, that I can earn money, and I have some freedom, I can pick my hours or whatever, work when I, as I see fit. So that really intrigued me, coming from, out of high school and into the Navy, which was very regimented, right? Very structured. And then wait a second, you mean you can earn money and not have all this structure? So it was really freedom. And I worked that for many years. I worked that from 1987 to 2008. And then the big crash came. Then my why changed, Laura, and it changed to influence. I was blessed to, through the crash, me and Brian Stevens kind of emerged out of that and became this thing that was this big national, show, for lack of a better word, that everybody was watching. And we grew, our audience grew tremendously in a period of about 2 or 3 years. And my why at that point it was very much influence, because I realized I had influence. And I was blessed to get it. I mean, it was a blessing, and I had influence, and that was my why. How can I help influence the industry? And I know we were part of influencing a lot of things in the industry, and Brian still is today. He still does the National Real Estate Post today. And then now, that I'm, you might not believe this, but I'm going to be 60 in July, right? So I'm in a new phase in my life, in a new spot. And I told Brian, I said, I feel like I have a new why. I do. And I felt like I needed to make a bit of a change. So he and I gracefully parted ways. I still help out over there, of course. I always will, because I helped build that. That's a part of my legacy. But now my new why is legacy, and it's because I'm looking at, Laura. I probably got 6 or 7 years left at all this stuff. Who knows? Maybe I'll stay longer. I don't know. But
maybe in another way, right? It just keeps evolving, right? Evolves. And you know what? As you're throwing out dates, right? In my mind, I automatically go to, okay, what was going on in the world at that time? And I think of 1987, and I think of really high interest rates. I'm just thinking, I wasn't in the mortgage business then, but I'm thinking, high interest rates, right? And but also a crazy market of all of a sudden people were in this, booming economy, and things were good, and people did want to get out there, but the interest rates were very, very high. And then, of course, you went through many refi booms, right?
Sure.
And then, of course, the subprime growth, right? All the way as that was booming and everybody was buying and all the crazy programs and products. And then, of course, the crash. And you being an influencer in that period of time, boy, were you way ahead of no one even knew that word at that time. If you really think about it, right? There wasn't even a word that you heard.
Not so much. And yeah, we just kind of really stumbled into it. Again, it was an absolute blessing to be able to experience it, stumble into it, be a part of it. It was an exciting time, still is. I don't want to say like it's all gone. It's still going strong with Brian, but there was certainly a notable time where it was really big. We were really happening, and so, yeah, that was my why during that period of time. And today my why is more legacy. I really want to get back. I want to get back. I feel like I've been in the cloud for 15 years, right? I've been on video blogs and I've been on social media and I've been in the cloud. I've been this virtual cloud-based guy, and I really want, for the last part of my why, I really want to be more in touch on the ground level with the originators and
let's actually speak about that. You were mentioning to me that you really enjoy this Loan Officer Breakfast Club. So tell us, why do you enjoy that? Like, what do you get out of that from the perspective of working with them?
Gosh, so much, because to simplify, Loan Officer Breakfast Club is a daily, live, fully interactive coaching Zoom call. Okay. It's Monday through Thursday and it's free, right? It's free to everybody. And so we get hundreds and hundreds of people on this thing every Monday through Thursday. And of course we revolve around the Marketing Animals marketing plan and the daily success plan, that type of thing. But what do I get out of it? So much, because it's a live Zoom call. So it's not a webinar. It's not one way. It's, it's like this, and anybody can unmute their mic and say what they're thinking or ask a question or provide some feedback or whatever. And so the conversations, Laura, they flow in so many awesome directions. And it's so cool. At the end of every Breakfast Club, everybody walks out of there going, dang, that was pretty cool. I picked up something on that. I could really use that. And so they've said, I've learned so much from these originators, because we have, every level. We've got the guys that are doing 600-700 deals a year, been in the business for 20 years. We got those guys, and we got the brand new guys. We got a guy named Mitchell Tucker. He's currently in the Air Force, and he's been in 2 years, but he's getting into the mortgage industry now. So when he gets out in 2 years, he's already a superstar.
How smart.
So smart,
right?
Yeah. And we're watching him, go from, we're literally the ones coaching him along from his fledgling little, I'm just getting started. He's already got loans going. And it's just, you get so much satisfaction out of that. I know you do too. When you can help new people in the business and young people in the business kind of get in and get going and get some success. There's not a lot.
And I will tell you, I don't know if it's, I don't know what changed, but I know when I first started out in this industry, it was tough to get people to share what was working, what wasn't working, what technology should you use, or where should you go, or who should you ask. And I know I love the fact that in 2021, at this point in our industry, I don't really feel like people are that closed up where they don't share now. I think they want to be on the Zoom calls and they want to listen in to hear what someone is struggling with, and then what the recommendations are, so they can learn, so that they can know, maybe you should go and get this type of device, to manage, or maybe you should, whatever it is. I think we're in a great time, because I think people, I love to say we're in an abundant mindset. Instead of this, I can't share because then maybe that person's going to do better than me. So what have you seen with that?
Oh gosh, it's endless. It's incredible. The biggest thing that I've picked up from that is, and I wish Breakfast Club was around when I was growing up in the industry so bad, because what I really learned is, and I'm learning from Breakfast Club, is how to properly structure a team so that as an originator, you can really focus on doing the things that you really love to do in the industry, the things you're good at and the things that generate the most business in. And you can structure a team beneath you that loves what they do too, but they're helping, with the daily grind of the industry that usually as an originator, we get sucked into, all the time, and so what I've been getting out of that is really learning about teams and how to structure them and what they do and that kind of thing. It's been fascinating. I
love that. Have you ever heard the story of David Licken? Like, have you ever heard his story of when he first started? It's exactly what you just said. So he's been in the industry forever, right? And he shares the story that he was a phenomenal originator, meaning he could go out and he could write apps, but he was terrible at the other stuff. Yeah. He was terrible at the details on the 1003 and the minutia. And luckily, he had a phenomenal leader that said, okay, you're going to just focus on this. You keep doing this part, and I'll build a team that will take care of. Now, at that time in our industry, that wasn't common. No, that was not common at all. But he gave credit that he had a leader that realized that he could be an exceptional originator and he could generate business, but he just wasn't good at the other stuff. Right. And there is no issue with that. All of that is just fine.
No, it's great. This is one of the things I always say on Breakfast Club, and I've said it many times in my careers. The mortgage industry is like such a unique industry because it's probably one of the only industries that you can actually build your own business inside of someone else's business. Yes. You see what I mean? So I go work for a mortgage broker or something like that. I get to like build my own. Yeah. It's almost like I'm building my own company inside of someone else's company. It doesn't matter if you're a banker, broker. It's a very unique industry where you can do that. And so building teams, building your own team within a company, it's really cool. And it's been really neat to learn about it and see these guys that are doing it at a high level. I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're so smart. You know, I wish I was that smart when I was, originating, you know.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So my next question, this is my most favorite one to ask. I want to know at what point, give me a story, give me some memory of where you kind of sat back and said, wow, I have made a monumental impact in the lives of others. Whether it was a particular borrower family you helped, whether it was a group of loan officers, whether it was a particular part of the industry. Where's that moment for you that you'd like to share with us?
You know, there's two things that I'll address on this. And one of those moments was probably back in 2010, I would say, something like that, maybe 2010. And at this time, Brian and I were really railing with the National Real Estate Post. We were traveling, speaking all around the country constantly. We were away more than we were home. And we were at a big event somewhere. And actually, it was one with Carl. It was a video market. We did a video marketing event because we were kind of the OGs of video marketing and we did this video marketing event and we were in Dallas, Texas. And a guy came up to us with his wife. And he's like, I'm not lying, Laura. He's like got tears in his eyes and he's kind of choked up and he was just so happy to see us. And he was like taking pictures with us. And he was just like, you guys don't understand. He said, I got really, really sick and I was in the hospital and I'm not lying. This is a true story.
Wow,
so
no, keep talking.
They don't know if I didn't know if I was going to live. My wife was with me every day. I can't remember what it was, but he was on near death and he had to stay in the hospital a long time to get recovered. It was like 2 months or something like that. And he was a mortgage guy. And he said, but me and my wife would watch you and Brian every single morning. And I tell you what, you kept me motivated and kept me inspired and kept me going. And when I finally got out, I was so excited to get back into the business and get things going. And I couldn't wait to get to this meeting just to see you guys and shake your hand and tell you thank you for everything that you do. And we were like, oh, I'm actually getting a little worked up right now. Oh my God, it was just so emotional. It was like really emotional, and I was like, wow, I had no idea we were making that kind of impact on people. And through the years of doing this, Laura, especially with the National Real Estate Post, so many times people have just said, man, you've changed my life. You've done great things for my life and what's going on. And the other thing that I think was the most impactful thing for me in my career, right? It's a pretty long career at this point. And, of course, when we do mortgages and we're helping people get into homes and first-time home buyers, all those stories are wonderful, right? All those, there's so many things that we love and appreciate as originators, where we've helped people. We know those are really great stories. But I tell you, one of the in thinking about this, I think the thing that I get a lot of satisfaction out of, or I'm really proud of, is that, when you do well in the mortgage industry, you start to create a little wealth and some business, and then when you get to the point where the blessing of that wealth can spill over, and you can start to hire people and, train new originators, or even more so, just the administrative people that I've hired over the years that, Laura, we've taken people I'm not lying, out of Chick-fil-A. One of my best employees ever, she still works for Brian, but oh no, she actually works for us at Listing Booster too. But she, she's been with us for many years, maybe 7 or 8 years, something like that. We literally took her as a young kid, not too far out of high school, out of Chick-fil-A, and brought her in.
And Frank,
now she's a professional,
I mean, think about that impact, because it's not just her. You have changed the generational cycle within her family.
Correct.
Like, that's the power and the impact. And you're correct, right? Every family that we help, we're making a difference. So yes, that's one part of what we do in the mortgage industry. But I love that you brought up the fact of the positive effect that we have on all the team members that work with us. And those, it will forever change them and their families.
It does. You when you get to the point where you've got that blessing of revenue that spills over, and then now you're like providing not only for your family, but you're literally providing for other families, and they love being there, and it's changed their lives. I mean, we took guys out of Best Buy, right? This is interesting. So a couple of guys come out of Best Buy, came over to us, and these guys are right out of high school, right? They come over to us, they start learning the industry, and then we plug them in. Well, you got to learn Salesforce, because we worked in Salesforce. You got to learn Salesforce. And so we send them off to get trained, and they'd come back and they became really good at Salesforce. And then eventually they go, well, I can kind of make a lot of money as a Salesforce independent contractor if I bugged out of here, just so you know. And I feeling really bad about, telling you this. We're like, no, do it, man. Do it. I took you out of Best Buy. You hung with me for 3 or 4 years. Now you can go off and actually be an independent contractor and help other companies handle their sales force. Congratulations. That's a big life change for somebody.
It is.
And it's those stories it's the employees that have been, they're the ones that just resonate closest to my heart, at least right now, as far as changing lives and impacting people in this, and that's what this industry afforded me to do, impact those lives, many of them.
Absolutely. I love that. So final question, and you touched on this a little bit. So you're in your final section of why, from what you're saying, within the mortgage industry, and you're thinking about that legacy. So tell me, what do you want that legacy to be? When you're sitting, I don't know, on a beach, on a porch somewhere, walking through some beautiful area, what do you want people to remember most, and to have what kind of leftover impact?
I just want anyone that I was able to influence in any way, shape, or form in this industry to have just a very positive memory of me. And if I was able to help them in any way, shape, or form, at all, I hope that they just think fondly of that's all. I want my legacy, my last why, and my legacy in this industry to be one where I made a difference, right? Which I feel like I've done. But in the final stage here, I want to continue to make a difference, but I want to make that difference in my final legacy to be one where I was really making a difference one-on-one with people, not so much talking to a gajillion people the way it's been for me for the past 15 years, but where it's more like I'm talking to individual people now, and I'm really helping at that level. And that's what I want to. I don't know if that answers the question. It
does. And obviously it resonates very well with me, because I'm in that same stage of, how do you want to be remembered, and what's that lasting impact that we've had?
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Although, yes, we've impacted in a big way, right? But it's that one-on-one level that it goes deep, right? Yeah. It goes deep. And I also love that you said that the positive thought, right? It's interesting. I mean, there's a speech that I've written. One time I said, and I spoke about, I used to apologize to people when I said what industry I was in, because when I came into this industry at certain times, people really did not like our industry. And I almost had to apologize. I was
Sorry.
like, I'm not like that. That's not me. Yes, it's my industry, but I'm sorry, right? Like, our industry has received a bad rap at times, depending on what was going on. But I feel especially after 2020 and what we did for the economy and how we kept everything going and, you know, and how we all came together and we took care of these families, and that to just use words like kind and positive and lasting impact, it's a different vernacular than when I came into this industry. Before, it was a lot of money, greed, it was, oh, well, we're not right. So that makes me so happy, because this evolution that has transpired, that yes, we can all be successful, we can all have blessings for our families and for growing our companies, but yet we can also be kind, and we can also make an impact, and we also can leave a positive, lasting effect after all of us move on. So thank you, Frank, for making a positive impact, for everything that you've done for our industry and continue to do in changing lives, whether it's one or a cajillion. Thank you for everything you've done. We appreciate it.
Oh, you're so sweet. And I thank you too. And I'm excited for everything you're doing. I've had my eye on you lately. I'm like, man, that girl, she is going. She's got a lot going.
I got a lot of work to do before I get out of here, Frank.
Yeah, you're doing it. I'm like, my goodness, she's everywhere. I'm seeing her all over the place, and she's doing all these really cool things. Hey, we're going to have you on Breakfast Club too.
Yes, I'm
super excited about that. Yeah, in fact, I told everybody at Breakfast Club you're going to be here next week. So they're all like, cool, that'll be great. So we're looking forward to
energy. Well, thank you, Frank. And thank you for being awesome. And thank you for sharing your why with all of us. Take care.
Thank you.